Hello, good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to SGS 2.0. I'm excited to be here and I hope you are too. I have amazing speakers on today's episode with me. This show is something that I'm always elated about because you don't get to see a lot of shows or podcasts that actually gathers together to talk about businesses, growth, financial markets. It's always about the juicy gossips. On today's episode, we are talking about something that I think everybody needs to know about how the kind of mistakes that we make as business owners or entrepreneurs or serialpreneurs, like some people would say, that's doing multiple businesses at once as an entrepreneur. And we have like experts who would actually share their experiences and how they could actually help us scale our businesses and bypass some of these mistakes. So over to you, Bliss Network.
Hello. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to accumulate, but I would say becoming a business owner is actually a journey that never ends.
Right.
You just keep going and going, becoming better, learning, improving. You know, there's this thing they say that when you are in business, if you are not smart,
Mm,
that your business can work for you, that you have to be smart. But when I get into business, sorry, when people get into business,
right.
they'll not discover that it's beyond being smart. Yeah, you need to be smart, but most importantly, there's hard work. You need to work hard.
Right.
As a matter of fact, you start by working hard before working smart. Yeah. So this thing of people saying, you know, when you work smart in business, you make it. It's not true.
Hmm.
It's not true. You have to first work hard, then work smart.
I,
Yeah.
I have something to say about that.
Alright.
I've always known, like, you know how people say there's book smart and there's street smart? I've seen people who actually, so there's a thing about like applying certain approach or strategy to something and you see it work two times or three times faster than if you had gone the normal traditional route, right? So that's where we talk about being smart. So it's not that you're being any lazier, like you still put in the hard work, but because of that being street smart, there are certain hurdles like you can bypass because you've done some major calculations or you've gone to your drawing board and sorted out some things. So you say, okay, if I can do pass this or do this, I wouldn't have to go through this hurdle. So I've saved myself some amount of money that I would have spent in the business. So I feel like being smart is like
Yeah, being smart is,
it's like one of the first things.
it's part of it. But when you are starting a business or growing a business, you need to be smart. But smartness is not what would actually make you grow that business.
Right, it's not enough.
It's not enough. You need to work hard. It's
Okay.
hard work.
Let me comment. So what I think, to add to what he's saying,
Yeah.
I agree with the both of you actually, but I see the dynamics. So the truth is that to start a business, you have to be smart. To build a business, you have to do the hard work.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Startup is grind.
Yeah.
Now, for daily engagement in your hard work, there's still the place of being smart because while you are doing the hard work on the streets, opportunities will come around that you need to
True.
leverage. Okay,
Yeah.
so smartness and being hardworking doesn't come and go. They play together,
Right.
and then they have their times of maybe concentration.
Yeah.
So it's like I think
Both
We're in
of
They
them.
both
understanding.
exactly.
Yeah.
They
But
both
how do
work hand in
someone work
hand.
smart if they don't work hard?
how do you work smart if you do not work hard?
You're not even smart at all. Then you're taking the whole idea of being smart out of the equation. If
It doesn't
the moment
exist.
it
When
doesn't
you say someone
exactly.
is smart, what does it mean? What does it mean?
Okay, so for me, if you are smart, I would term you as somebody who is maybe industrious, somebody who is open-minded, somebody also who is proactive. You are responsive. Those are the qualities that I would use to qualify somebody who is smart. So if you are smart today, you'll be able to identify opportunities for business. You'll
Mhm.
be able to understand how to put things together to start a business. And then maybe if you are smart but you are not hardworking, then you are good at starting a business but not building a
Building.
business.
That's what I was saying. That what makes anyone build any business
Mm.
is hard work.
Right.
Smart work will actually get you to some point.
And keep
But
you going.
It will
But
not
the
keep
hard
you, it will
work,
not it's hard
as
work
long
that will
as
keep you going.
you're adding it, like it works hand in hand.
You know, hard work is like when you is like an application. Okay, to do this thing, I have to just do it like this. But you have to do it
Yeah.
consistently. That's where hard work comes.
Right.
It's not something you just do and just stop. There's someone winning a lottery.
Right.
Do you understand?
Mhm.
You are smart to get something, you are smart to get the contract, but how do you produce results without working hard?
I agree. Can we finally agree on this now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right, Timmy, I'm curious to know, like, your business, how long have you been in it, and what were like the mistakes that you had gone in to a certain extent? I wouldn't say too far, and then you're like, oh, I messed up here. How, like, what did it take you to go back? Because, I feel like there's some mistakes you make in business and you're like, oh, more, I don't spoil everything. Like, is it that going back is a no-no, or some people just call it quits there? So like, how was it for you?
Okay, so for me, I started business very early.
Okay.
Started business 2014.
Wow.
And so that's like 11 years ago. And I've, worked in several industries, businesses, teams, and so on. And yeah, now coming to entrepreneurship, I've had different business models, different ideas, and I executed. But I'm going to speak to my very idea, Future Food, which was closed at some point, right?
Yeah.
So Future Food was an idea that I was passionate about, which I know that a lot of business people out there started business because I'm just passionate about this thing. Right? We're coming there.
Right.
So I've been right from secondary school. If you visited my class, SS3A or 2A, and you ask everybody what do they want to study in university, when it comes to my desk, everybody will say she wants to do agriculture. So I've been passionate for a very long time about agriculture, and I went into university, chose to study agricultural economics, had questions, about the value chain, left school, went on, and then I thought, this is how I'm going to make it in life,
Yeah.
right? But that's how I'm making it in life
Right,
right now.
fair enough.
So, what are the mistakes? The mistakes would be around a lot of things that I'm doing differently today.
Right.
So some of the mistakes I made with Future Food is not iterating fast, which has also informed some of the solutions I drive today. So I have an idea, I take very long to plan.
Yeah.
I remember one of my mentors telling me, Joy, you are going into some form of analysis paralysis again.
Mm-mm.
You get, so you have an idea today. Probably you were the first person that came up with the idea of Bubu, making the Bubu and Bubu when it started.
Right.
And then you just kept going around, I need to pull up these resources in funds,
True.
in teams,
You
in
wanna
this,
make it
before
big.
I execute.
Mm.
And at the point where you're executing, the market has moved, right? Or the resources are still not available. So time has gone, time is being spent. And then maybe you realize that, okay, this idea is great in my head, but it's not the same experience when I execute, and you don't know what to do. Maybe because of a business acumen gap, or because you are just reluctant and too emotional or passionate about what you're doing. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of mistakes I made, but I think I'll share them as we move forward.
Timothy, you just spoke to my soul. Analysis
So what's in your
paralysis.
soul?
See that grammar? I had to pause. I was like, wait, analysis paralysis. So it's basically, what it means to be paralyzed? Like you're like stuck in one place, and then you
Yeah.
just keep going round and round on something.
Yeah.
Just keep going around. Like it's something that everybody deals with, whether it's in business or with school. Like just stuck on making a decision. Like, do I move forward with this, or what's next around this? So when I say she spoke to my soul, I know ideas that I came up with, and in my head I was like, see, I say something about like having ideas or this vision. While you're thinking is there's 20 other people somewhere thinking something
Yeah.
similar.
Or would
To
have
that.
started.
And there are people who are so quick to their thinking, and the next minute they're on their feet already executing. But unfortunately, one of the reasons why I think we have the analysis paralysis is because we are in Nigeria.
No?
No, I think it's there, right? But then the fact that you have to now consider those extra factors, or okay, the kind of country that I'm in, how is it going to favor my business? Now we're in an era where from last year ending, a lot of people started to withdraw back their businesses. The ones that are starting up are taking their business out of Nigeria and going outside, or looking for somewhere else they can open up. There is a market here. the market is still moving. There's still a growing market in so many sectors. Like agriculture has always been a big market to
It's
explore.
the biggest industry in the world.
It has always been a big
Are
market
you
to
sure it's
explore.
biggest?
You could Google it, but I'm telling you,
It's
that
one
is
of
the
the
largest-
biggest.
It's
one
the
of the-
largest
Is
industry.
the second
To what?
is oil.
Oil is the biggest
Yeah.
industry. Let me
Before
state
food.
out the facts. How many people do you think agriculture? How many homes do you think agriculture feeds in a year? How many people in Nigeria
Are
do
you
you
talking
think
about the
agriculture
need now or
employs?
the industry? Because what you're
So-
focusing on now is the need. We also
No,
use
I'm not done. I'm still stating the fact. The amount of people that are employed in agriculture,
Mm.
the size of the value chain. Then I was talking about the people that are being fed in agriculture. Look at the number of thousands of Nigerians that work in agriculture. Look at the number of families that are being fed by agriculture worldwide. Look at the value chain from production to distribution to the products that are even made out of the raw materials. Do you know that raw materials from agriculture is being used in cosmetics?
Yeah.
It's being
Some of them.
used in different things. It's
In the
biggest
fashion
value chain
space
in the
and-
world. Oil is big in terms of funds.
oil.
But
oil
but
is
funny
what-
thing is, look at
not
2021,
just fund,
2022.
not just fund. A lot of things are
Agriculture
driven by
contribute-
oil.
True, but I think I get where she's coming from. In this moment, I don't know which one is topping which, but I know they're both like in the top 3.
The funny thing
You
is,
wouldn't
even
move
contribution
without oil.
of
You
revenue.
wouldn't move that oil, but there's like a lot of places that don't have access to oil.
Please, let's
They're
bet.
still uncivilized.
Let's do business right
They're
now. We need to do
still-
business.
they're
Money.
still-
We need to do
There's
business.
no-
Money. Let's bet.
Mention one country.
There's this true God, let me not embarrass myself in front of camera because if I get the wrong pronunciation, yeah, but it's like one of those countries that are still like way underdeveloped, uncivilized. Like they still live like
Yes, Eastern Africa.
those really backwards, but they feed. They have
I
to
know
feed.
agriculture is important.
But they
I know
don't
it's
have
very important.
electricity.
You can't
They
do
don't have
without
electricity, so
agriculture.
there's
It's
no
very
oil,
important.
there's no car, there's no those things don't
Look,
exist to
I
them.
have one fact again to contribute. Go and look at the GDP
Yeah.
contribution to GDP. Look at the percentage. I think as far back as 2022, 2023, we were doing 21% to 30% of the entire GDP of a nation. Just agriculture alone. Why am I advocating for agriculture?
You are
I already
you are actually
left.
Yeah, it's not too late to go back. You could still go back. Do you intend to go back?
I don't intend to go back.
Are you serious? Were you that
There's work
traumatized?
there now.
Look, in
Lot of
2020, I woke up one day, I put scissors in my hair and I cut my head off.
That same COVID year.
I was depressed. No,
yes.
Yeah.
COVID.
now, it wasn't because of COVID.
No, I know.
It was after COVID when I had invested putting chillers in supermarket stores and it was sales or return. Have this video online, could still find it. And we were stocking, sometimes, products would go back. And the whole passion was improving food accessibility in terms of vegetable, blah, 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 blah. This is the business model. And I realized at the end of the day that it's so bad that I've put in resources into this idea that now I'm even using my personal funds to create products to put into chillers.
Yeah.
And then the superstores are also delaying in payments. I was so depressed. I woke up. Nobody could understand what I was going through at home. My
yeah.
mom would say, "You are the most depressed child that I have," right? Because why am I dealing with this? So I put a scissors to my, maybe I would feel better in my mental space.
Mm.
It can be.
You don't
crazy.
think the country had anything to do with how things were going?
So? For me,
Yeah.
as a thought leader, I understand that Nigeria has a lot to do with a lot of the challenges we face in business. But I still think that, like I mentioned, I was, at a podcast also recently, and I said that, look, don't really say ideas pertaining to Nigeria, because Nigeria is not the only one facing these challenges.
True.
You could say ideas for emerging markets, growing economies.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? Which a lot of African countries, are in. But these challenges exist because we're in the world today. It is probably 28th of March, 2025. Everything is not black and white in terms of challenges and solutions.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not advocating for the government. I don't think they are doing their best. I have a lot of things I could say, that they would probably should do better. But I would say that we should stop thinking Nigeria this
Everything,
challenge
Nigeria is our
is
problem.
peculiar
Nigeria,
to
yes.
Nigeria. People became millionaires in COVID. People have become
Mhm.
millionaires this year. Focus on yourself and how you leverage a system to get better.
But
Mm.
sometimes when you talk about systems, sometimes the country can affect a system.
Mm-hmm.
So you talk about productivity, the cost of production,
Mm.
talk about movement,
Mhm.
logistics. So, and that's why a lot of people are closing their business, like you said,
Yeah.
because you cannot function in a place where there is problem with the system or the nation, or things are not working. No, like you have to spend money on diesel. You have to.
Mhm.
So if you are not doing a business that requires less of, some of all these mechanical,
Mm.
operations,
Mm.
let me not lie to you, you feel it in Nigeria.
That's
You
true.
feel it. It's easy for people that are into tech. People that's why I
Yeah,
always advise
I
people,
was going there because now we thank God
don't-
for the digital space, but
before me as a business strategist, I will advise people, don't just start a business without looking at your passion. What am I passionate about? But now, sometimes your passion might not even be something that will thrive in this
Mhm.
nation.
Mhm. Yeah.
So you now have to think, okay, what is it that I need to learn? What is it I need to, you don't just place like Nigeria, you don't just wake up and say, I want to start a business now.
you have to really
You need to
do
do proper
one-on-one
market
and-
research.
Let me share an experience of a time when this country happened to me. You know this, they will say Nigeria has
happen
happened
to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nigeria has happened to me positively and negatively, but let me share a negative experience. In 2019, still in agriculture, I was in Sokoto. I used to travel, spend hours on the road, Lagos, Sokoto, sometimes 26, 28 hours.
Yeah.
And we were doing onion storage. It was a beautiful idea because there is a time of, harvest, and then there is a time
Yeah.
for scarcity. And so we thought, okay, let us invest. I had two people who believed in me, who were investors, together with my funds. And so I went March, we stored from March to April. Everything was going great, beautiful, dreamy. I was already thinking by July, August, supernormal profit. I'm talking
Exactly.
about 80%.
The
We're going
project-
to sell a bag of onion around 40, 45, even as high as 60%, 60,000 naira.
Yeah.
But the government came and said border closure. As a business person, I would understand the reason why the government, created
Made
that
that
policy and executed
yeah.
that policy. But then there was not a lot of research behind that before execution. I believe
Mm.
that. Now, how did this affect me? Immediately the border was closed. There was glut in the food market, and it impacted the onion value chain. So
Mm.
for merchants that would take onion outside the country to neighboring countries or wherever it is they sell there, everybody had to face the local market. We were facing the local market. We wanted to sell at, Bodija or Mile 12, the Badon market or Lagos market.
Yeah.
And now we are facing this same market with these guys that usually would ship out.
Mhm.
And so if I had maybe 500 bags to, sell, I have people who have 2,000, 5,000 bags
yeah.
facing the same market. Now, I projected to sell a bag of onions at that period of scarcity around the amount that I said, but I saw the bag on the farm where we stored at 12,000.
Wow.
No, what am I saying? We sold at 9,000 naira. Meanwhile, we were already aggregating the cost of storage so far for each bag at 12,000 naira. So it was a loss.
It was a loss. Yeah.
Yet Nigeria happened to me then.
No. Like you don't see it coming. You just
You don't
Just
see it
happened.
coming.
you don't see it coming.
didn't
That's
see that
that's part of the result of an economy that is not working.
You don't see it coming. So sometimes like in things like that now, you know how they usually be like when you're making a plan, have a plan B, like what plan B would you have had because you don't see it coming. It's if maybe they give you a heads up that okay, well the border's gonna close so and so. So you start to make prior plan B on that in that aspect. So as a business person now, what would have been your best advice for her in that situation?
Ah.
I'm putting you on the top spot.
I'm not her. I'm not the one experiencing
Yeah.
it. But what I would say to her at that situation is, sometimes you pause, you reevaluate, you pause, you recalculate,
Mm.
you pause, you unlearn, and you observe. One thing about the market is things will always happen. Shit happens. Change is bound to happen.
Yeah.
So we're talking about economy. I used to tell people, even if the best of president should be ruling you right now,
Mm-hmm.
the country might still be the way it is. So it's not we can't just conclude on the government and say, okay, they are not working. Let's
Yeah.
wait after some time. But does it not mean that you won't do what you are not supposed to do? Or does it mean that when you experience failure, you now pack off and say,
That's
okay,
true.
this thing is not working, let me know. That's life.
Yeah.
I've had several failures myself.
Mm.
Starting Bliss Network for me it's just like when they remove you from water, a cold water,
Mm-hmm.
and they put you inside ice.
Ooh. I don't know what that
You are
expression
trying to
like.
move from the cold water to warm water, and you now see yourself inside ice,
Right.
Mm.
and you now sounds like, what's happening?
Mm.
So, but you just have to keep pushing. You just have to, like, now. You see, business is not static.
Mm-hmm.
You might start off with something. Doesn't mean that you end there. It's dynamic.
And it could be negative, dynamic, or positive.
Yes, it could be negative, but you should know when something is not working. These things people say, don't give up, don't give up. In the business world, it's not like that. There are some things you just give up on. Like, you just, okay, let me leave it for a while.
Yeah.
Since it's not working, you won't just be there and you'll be drained.
True.
Do you understand?
I
So
agree.
those are some of the mistakes some people make in business. They don't even know what they want, and they don't know how to get what they want.
Mm-hmm.
So when they experience failure in between, they are not like, why am I here? And they'll be confused.
I think
See, I push things through. Like I force my way to the top. Like I just keep going. That's the attitude.
regardless. That's true.
I think we should expand on what you just mentioned. A business mistake that people make, right? This is where I put it out to you as an entrepreneur watching this podcast right now.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why you are making mistakes or you have challenges is because you don't know what you are doing.
Exactly.
That's true.
So let me say this. I have people who I've seen Nigerians online or families who would say, I just started this business, but people are not buying from me. And these people that she or he is talking about is the family and the friends. So I ask you, did you start this business because of your family and friends?
Exactly.
A lot of Nigerians will start business because they heard that it is
They are
going
hoping
great.
exactly. Somebody will buy
Fish
from
pond
them.
is now doing so
It's
well.
Everybody.
So
wants to-
you
Exactly.
start fish pond, right? And you expect that all the people that know you should be buying
Should buy
fish from
fish
you.
from you, like-
There is nothing like a buyer persona or a customer segment thing, target audience thing that you
No
have.
market research.
You just expect that
Exactly.
because you start this business, then I now have the obligation to patronize you so that your business can thrive. This is not the way we have sustainable business. So you don't know what you are doing, and there's no way your business will thrive. And you keep complaining Nigeria. Is that Nigeria?
No, it's a me problem, rather it's a you problem, because I think I was having a conversation with there's this older man. It's crazy because I emphasized an older man because he's had like a chain of businesses that he put money in and it did not work out the way that he wanted it to. And he's an evil man, and that mentality of I put money in my business and no be small money, that kind, like it should be. And then we had a chat and I asked some questions and he's like, I beg that I'm bringing all this, my Gen Z something, my age that is for our people.
Really?
Do you know what I asked him about? I said market research. Like, did you do planning? Say,
What's
can you hear
market
more? Sorry, which one is market research, market planning? I was like, this is something like, you're going into a certain kind of business and your target market is my age grade, my age people, right? The same age people that you're already looking at us that is for us. Because I asked you, did you do like a proper research or survey before you went into this business? And your targets, the people that you expect that will come and buy, that you make money from, profits from, is still the same kind of people. You are supposed to do a market research. Like, what do these people even like? since you're not in their age group, right? You're not in their age grade, you don't have any idea whatsoever. So let's say it's clothing, a certain kind of clothing you want to introduce into the market, and your target is people who are in their like late teens to early 30s, but you are in your 60s or in your 50s, but you just have money to put in the business, and you're like, okay, you call one or two of your boys to just buy, ship from China straight down, no market research, no planning, no questions asked. This is something that you sit down and actually get enough data,
Yeah.
right, to do this. So I think these are one of the reasons why a lot of businesses fail. People don't, till today, it amazes me, like people still don't understand what proper planning is. Like you always say, like business plan, like put out a business plan, market
Yeah.
research and all that.
Yeah. I used to tell people value is where you add it,
Yeah.
not where you subtract from it. Value is what people are looking out for.
Mm-hmm.
One big mistake a lot of people, startup founders, people in business are making is they don't think of their business as a value that needs to be added.
Yeah.
Instead, they are thinking of how that business can get for them value in form of money. They are two different things now. The mind is so powerful that where you focus on, you feel.
True.
So now if I'm focusing on, okay, I have a product and I want this product to be valuable in the marketplace, to add value to people. Now, the product is not just valuable, the environment where that product will function.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making sure that the value speaks to the point that the product don't even need to say anything.
Right.
People just see it and say, okay, this is just like when you go to a place and you want to get a bottle of water and they tell you the water costs 20,000 naira. And you are seeing the person that is going to serve you the water, the way she's looking, and the ambience of the place, the glass and everything. If they say pay 20,000, you might not even say, why is it 20,000? You know why? Because the value surrounding that water is speaking more than even the money you want to use to buy. So that is value. Value is where you add it.
Yeah.
So because most people think, that's one big mistake a lot of businessmen make. They think, if I have a product, if I have a service, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
People just come and pay me for it.
And you have capital.
And you just run anyhow. You have failed customer service experience, what's it called? Service. You have inappropriate packaging. You just feel like, okay, this product is good. You see that in people's life.
Yeah.
Like someone will say, okay, this is what I'm a service provider. But me looking at them, even the way they talk, there are some clients. I've never had any clients that will get my number and call me and they will now be regretting that they called Newton. I don't even talk money.
Yeah.
If you go through my WhatsApp, go through, you will never, clients are the one asking me, how much with
is
this? I
right.
will just be presenting value to you. So I'm thinking value before money. Money is a reward for adding value.
Yeah.
And value is not just in the product or service, it's how you serve, how you sell. Do you understand? So it's one major problem that business now
a contradicting insight, a little. You see, the reason why sometimes it looks like we Nigerians start business and we are like focused on the economic benefits, like the value the business will bring back to us, is because also a lot of us are going into business because we're trying to get out of poverty.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just trying to sell here because I need to make money to
What
take
else?
That's the primary reason.
What else?
To make profit.
Like,
Yeah.
No, I didn't say profit. To get out of poverty. It's a different mindset.
Okay.
Look at the person on the street. For example, if organizer today, this guy comes out of his house for what reason? To generate income, to buy lunch, and when he's going back home in the evening, to get money, to give his wife, to feed his family, and maybe save some so that he can give, for his children's school fees.
Yeah.
So that's his business. That's a valid business. So sometimes also we probably would give excuse or give room and give grace as well to the individuals, to the level at which they are, to be able to also, and also the type of business, be able to say, look, if this is the type of business you do, let's not bother about structure or anything. Let us just be concerned about the fact that it can generate income and sort you.
That's the
Right.
that's the initial motivation.
There are some businesses that they can't even go beyond that. There are some businesses, it's like deep thinking, deep work right now. I sat down to think about it one day. Look, in my entrepreneurship community, we're always talking about structure, different things that will help businesses to thrive, like you do as
Yeah.
a consultant. But I realized that, look, don't push all of these business people into this line. There are some people who let them just, their type of business, how far they can go, right?
Do you think?
In-
Sorry, let me cut you. Do you think there's no business, or there is a business that can't actually be global, grow global, no matter how little it is?
As a Nigerian, let me throw another question back to you. Do you think everybody in business can build a global business?
That's what we are saying. Is the attitude? That's what we are saying.
Because so a vulcanizer out there, how do you want this person to build?
There are some vulcanizers that are not just stagnant.
Mhm.
I know a lot of
I
them.
think that's where the smartness we were talking about
Yes.
earlier
Mhm.
comes
So
in.
the idea of starting a business is not to just make money. Remember,
Of course.
is to solve problem
Mhm.
and create wealth. Dangote will say, "I'm not a rich person. I'm a wealthy person because I'm creating wealth
Mhm.
for the rich and also creating wealth for everybody." Do you understand?
So I agree with what you are saying. I'm now trying to also make us have, like in this statement,
Yeah.
let's give a little bit of grace. Let's open a little window in this our beautiful house to accommodate the people who will not be able to fit into this. Because we're talking about how many people in Nigeria, how many people in business. So far, we have over 40 million micro SMEs in the country at the
Yeah.
moment. So what I'm trying to say is, this is great, but to the dynamics of people listening to us, there are some of them who will not be able to do and execute
scale
some of
up.
the things we are saying.
Yeah.
So if you are in that phase, maybe just sitting and getting the business to pay you what you can. Look, somebody that is trying to feed all of the things.
Like
I'm
that's all I'm
saying.
thinking about. Like all I'm trying to think about is I just need money to put food on my table, like my next meal.
Let me share an insight with you. When I put myself through school and post school, when I'm still trying to just hustle and get food on the table, I never thought about generating financial statements as a form of structure for my finances in my business. Do you
True.
understand my point?
True, yeah.
I knew it then, or maybe I did not know, but it's not my
Makes sense.
business.
Makes sense.
I'm just trying to get this thing, get the next customer to transact with me so that I can feed.
Right.
Do you get my point?
Mhm.
Now, thankfully, I'm in a different space. I have financial statements.
what
I'm
brought you?
building a thriving business.
What motivated you?
Okay, so what I would say is, for me, I will speak for myself right now. I've always knew that business is what I'm called to do.
Mm.
At that point, it was what it is. But I was also saying that as a learning curve for myself. Are you getting my point? The Nigerians that probably don't even have interest in business,
Mm.
that just started doing it. For example, I'm a babe on IG right now. I started to sell here,
I saw it.
maybe mirror here or something today,
Mhm.
because my friend is doing it and she's striving, or my boyfriend doesn't give me money anymore and I need money to, take care of myself.
Yeah.
I just
But-
need this to make money for me. The truth is, it can now happen that the business thrives, and then I'm learning, I'm listening to him speak, and I'm learning about this, and then I can, begin to grow. But the concept or what I'm speaking to is the fact that a lot of people out there started business not because they are interested in starting a
No,
business.
business
They are
has-
just trying to survive.
Yeah, that's the stage. There are 3 stages of being a business owner. We need to understand something.
Mm-hmm.
The first stage is the starter stage, where you get to do everything. Your focus is money and all of that. But you should grow. That's what happened to you. Grow. That's what happened. What you're explaining now is just that, okay,
Yeah.
why didn't you remain in that spot? You grew. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, now, the first is, you might not even have a calling. You just have this passion, or you just want to make money, whatever
Mhm.
the case is that is driving you.
Mm.
Mine was poverty. Honestly speaking, I love what you said, that poverty can drive people. Mine was poverty. When I entered digital marketing space, my own is just, let me just get money and move on.
Mm.
But as time goes on, you just, okay, you're not getting this money. And what next? What next?
Right.
The next stage is you now becoming a business owner.
Mhm.
You now think, okay, it's not me that is doing it, because at first everything is built around the founder. So I'll take it to the next stage where, okay, let me now get some other people to let me start expanding, because I'm making money now. Am I going to? So that is where decision comes in. That's why we have SGS for Business, Strategic Growth Solution, to keep people informed that you don't have to remain at the particular level and say, okay, nobody wants to live small. You have to think beyond that and say, okay, let me become a business owner. Let me get 1 or 2 persons. The business might still be built around you as the brand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But as time goes on, you now start thinking like the Vusi Tembekwayo, the Mark Zuckerberg.
Yay.
You want to now become an entrepreneur. Like, let me take this thing to, that is the goal.
Okay.
So for you that you're watching this,
Not for everybody though.
not for everybody, like she said, some people will still decide to, that's
Some
where
people
education
are
comes
just
in.
they're just okay being okay. Like,
No, it's not
just
like they're
there.
okay, it's ignorance.
So
I don't believe some
businesses
people are
are
okay, it's
not
ignorance.
scalable.
Do you know somebody
I've
asked me?
met people who like they're educated, so it depends. I don't know like the level of ignorance you're talking about, because these people like are educated. I'm
They
not talking
don't
about
know.
a man who did not go to school and is just trying
See,
to fend for his
I
family.
met this guy.
He just sees I'm coming from the angle that he just sees the kind of work that he needs to put in, and he feels like he's not mentally cut out for all of this work.
No, they don't know. See, knowledge illuminates. Knowledge, if true knowledge enters a man, true knowledge, light. It's just like light now. If there's darkness in this place and you turn on the light, will you see darkness again? So when people are basking in one form of, is ignorance.
Right.
Is ignorant. What happened to us is knowledge. What is happening to us now is knowledge.
True.
If you don't know, you think they know. They might pass one big supermarket. Okay, this spa, now this big supermarket. These are ideas from people that might even start with one KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. The man was useless, was living a very frustrated life. When he was 70 something, that was when he just woke up and said, no, I can't keep doing this. He went on the streets. He knows he has a very fantastic recipe for chicken.
Yeah.
Started hawking. Like that. The man started, okay, people started buying into it. 70 something years old. We have a lot of them like that in Nigeria. At their later age, you'll now discover that I have this man, Dr. Johnson Alajubi. He worked as like a father to me. He worked for a very long time in NMPC as their marketing, whatever. He's a big man. But you know, you'll be wondering why some people don't just know about some certain things, because he was very busy. He had too many awards. I know. But this entrepreneurship business, according to him, then he used to say it's not his thing. It's not his thing until when he retired. He went broke after like some few years. You know, he couldn't keep up. You know, he was already used to spending lavishly and all of that. So he was not like, So he started attending training. And that was when light started coming in. That, okay, I need to start a business. He's not a real estate. He's into stockbroker and all those things. And he's doing well now. He's even more richer than the way he used to be.
Okay, so I think where we close this is to say to you, maybe you are seeing this video on TikTok, the vulcanizer, or you are in your store by the roadside right now.
Just think
or
big.
You are the
You can be bigger than
vendor
you can
right
start,
now.
yeah.
The point is that your business can grow bigger than
Yes.
So to
just
think
take the
about
next
ideas
step.
that can, maybe help you grow is to begin to see the opportunities for, if you have this store at this junction, you have customers that are always come here. What if you try
How can you
to have
double that?
another
Exactly. How can you
location?
double that?
So what if, as you see us right now, go to another junction and have this business?
Exactly.
It's going to increase your
It's
revenue.
just knowledge. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
knowledge.
It is actually.
And
great
it's
point.
one big mistake people make. Like,
is.
don't that knowledge to actually grow.
The
They
thing,
don't have
another
it.
thing is like just submit yourself to trainings, submit yourself to opportunities, like put yourself out there. That's even like the starting point. Put yourself out there, because the fear of failure, even I am speaking to myself, like the fear of what if I put my first finger and
then
it burns and you just retract back. It's okay. What if the second one you put doesn't
Okay.
even burn? And
I think one other mistake or challenge that I've also discovered by virtue of my experience and thought leadership, experience as well, is the fact that businesses or business owners, or say entrepreneurs out there, think that all challenges are problems. Business owners think all challenges are problems. This
So,
is what
hold
you
on, hold on.
signed up
You
for.
have to say that again so that they
Yeah.
Business owners think all challenges are
And
problems.
that means not all challenges.
Our problems, yeah.
Okay.
So
Could be a
I
learning
don't
curve.
get that.
so talking about the statement I just made, you start a business today, you wake up, you expect that sales would come every day. So for example, somebody in my class, was sharing insight on how she has a cleaning business. When the cleaning business just started, they used to make a lot of money. Like their average monthly turnover was about 3 million. It's in Lekki. And about 2 quarters after, that's like 6 months after, right? She realizes that she has staff she's paying, but there's no sales. And she thinks that's a major problem. But the funny thing is, that is business. There are
Yeah.
peak periods.
Mhm.
There are seasons out and
Mm.
season in.
Yeah,
Mm.
true.
So you shouldn't be thinking that this business is not thriving. Look, you signed up for this. MTN, their board members, their top executives, what they do every day is looking into data, looking into market, analysis, looking
Yeah.
into team, engagement,
Really?
critically thinking and making decisions.
Yeah, true.
Business owners need to understand that, look, when you start a business, you sign up for this, providing solutions to challenges on daily basis. You need to understand your business. You need to understand that when you have a team member, they will not always be on their top performing, high performing,
Yeah.
self on daily basis. You need to understand that building a house is not just you wish, you see.
And it just
It's a process.
Yeah.
It's the process of foundation. The hard work has to be put in.
Yeah.
The challenges of maybe, I don't know what challenges you experience in building, but thinking that everything you have as a challenge in your business right now is a problem and it's peculiar to you and is the reason why you have to close down a lot of people have closed down businesses not because the challenges are like good enough for them to close down the business.
yeah, that's not. Let me coming from that angle. Like one of the clients that I work with right now, her brand, she owns a cafe, and we've been doing amazing like with the sales up until like after December was like one of the peak periods.
Mhm.
Like on a Monday, you see a flocking, and I see it. I'm like, where is it coming from on a Monday? Like, you guys come out to eat this much on a Monday, and all of a sudden she's no longer making sales, and the rent has doubled
In January.
in January, February. So we notice that these are periods, and she's like, Charlie, how long will this continue? We are paying rent, and I even added more workers. Like, what's going to happen? Crazy thing. What we did was we had to sit back. Because we are already utilizing the digital space to put out this thing. Also, that's where we are in right now, the digital era. So if you're not utilizing or trying to implement any digital kind of technique to grow your business, then something is wrong somewhere. Something is definitely wrong somewhere. The rate actually, the market is crazy right now. So we had to like take a step back, and I'm glad like it came from her, because if it come from me, it would look like this girl wants to eat my money right now. But she's like, this content thing, is there a way or another kind of content like we can? I was like, so we had to like look back at it, like a different kind of content approach. So we started, okay, let's drop down on the videos about the meals. We looked at, I kid you not, we in like 3 days we analyzed like 100 cafe owners like and their restaurant like businesses all over the world. She'll send me links, I'll send her links, like we were going through.
And that was a strategy process.
In the beginning we didn't know it was a process, like we were strategizing. It was like after we look at some point I was like, I'm tired. Like 1 a.m. I would see pom links to like different. And so I noticed what she was trying to do, like, what am I not doing that other brands are doing and they are still scaling regardless of peak periods or not peak periods?
That is why every business owner needs the right strategy.
Do you get?
Every business has its own strategy.
Right.
So we changed
strategy.
the content plan completely. As in, I was just marveled because I saw this and I'm like, nah, this is something that every business owner should actually be thinking. Like, don't be quick to,
Right
just write off. Because her friend was experiencing the same thing, but this one is a perfume brand. You know what she did?
She closed down.
She said, according to her, she paused. So she traveled to take some time off and then sacked all the workers.
People don't close down. You see this content on social media or Instagram where they say, you strolling into your Instagram account, your business account,
Yeah.
after living for weeks, like,
Mhm.
oh, customers, I'm back. People do
Yeah.
that a lot. But I was going to also say that, let me speak as a business owner. So for us in DIY, we have two faces for DIY. We have the face where we are facing construction companies, interior design companies, and we are fabricating goods for them, right?
Yeah.
We also have the phase where we're doing e-commerce. We have stock of products that we have made and then people shop online. Now, what your cafe friend is experiencing is what we're experiencing Q1. Now, if you go to our Q1 plan, because we already know that this is not a peak period, this is people resuming work.
Mhm.
Their focus is on
Their bills to
paying
be
schools,
paid.
needs,
Right, rent.
needs. A lot of our products, some of them fall under needs, some of them fall under wants, right?
Yeah.
We know that this is not peak period for us. For us in DIY, we focus on this other side of the business.
Yeah.
Do we mean that we shut down? There are people who are working, digital marketers working in this phase. They continue to do their work
Right.
because it's not like sales comes to zero, but you see that sales drops.
Yeah.
And then we also try to ensure that we reduce the expenses in this line. Sometimes we even focus on ensuring that we are doing more of production in terms of general business structure.
True.
In Q1, we're focusing more on production that will flow into Q2. So speaking to, the idea of strategy, I just had to share that example so that more people listening can understand, they can have more insight
Yeah,
into
the
idea of
importance of
strategizing.
strategizing.
A lot of them out there do not even have strategy in the first place.
Yeah.
Some
And
people don't even know
re-strategizing
Some
self.
people don't even know
What
strategy
strategizing means. Yes.
is, and that's where let me just explain this a bit. Yeah, strategy. I get calls and people like, okay, help me with the strategy for my business and all of that. And sometimes when I give them the strategy, like, is it the just like that? I'm like, what were you expecting? You're expecting that strategy is like a roadmap for success. Like, just okay, every part is not your path.
Like a guide.
Which
basically.
one do you need to actually achieve that result that you want? You cannot have a strategy if you don't have a goal.
True.
You won't have a strategy if you don't have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Your strategy is like your modus operandi of execution.
God
Do you
bless
understand?
Mhm.
Yeah. So, so in business, I don't even advise anyone to start without having a strategy. Bliss Network is a digital marketing agency. We have our own strategy.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people come online like, you hardly post anything about Google ads, Facebook ads, email marketing, websites, this thing. But you do all of this. Like, my strategy value. I'll just come, how you can succeed in your business, I'll just be giving them tips on how they can grow their business. When they come to me, they want to grow their business, I'll now tell them, you need a website,
Yeah.
you need a this. So in selling anything, you can even do anything for free. Some of those things, someone called me like, some of this you're talking, like speaking, people pay to, you just give it for free. Why don't you? I say no. I will speak like, but I won't give you a how. I will tell you what to do, but you will never see me telling you how to do it. Because I know when you get the what and all, you come to me on the how. And I will tell you, okay, for you to execute it, to do it like this is my price. And they pay. I've never had anyone telling me, your price is too much or it's too, they are not my target audience.
Right,
because they've already seen the value.
If they understand the value,
she was like, I gave her the price and I was expecting her to like, okay, it's too much. She didn't say anything. When I was in this process, I discovered some lapses. I went back again to tell her this will require. She didn't say anything. So at the end of the day, I was like, this one you are not, because I was surprised because the way she started, she said she's just starting, she needs money and all. She's not saying anything. She said something. She said, because I believe from the video I saw and the way you are talking, you know what you are doing. I've tried so many people and your approach, strategy.
Right.
So lack of strategy is another thing that most businesses, most people in business are not really having. They don't have the right, they don't even know how to hit their target.
Yeah.
That's why we are here to help.
I think another thing too is also, you know how people mix business and pleasure, or like the finances. How, like you mentioned earlier,
Let me
something
give you
about
the
like
statement.
finances.
It's called businesses operate on a separate entity
Yeah.
concept.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, put it at the back of your mind. If you are starting
Because-
a business tomorrow, it's a separate entity.
Completely.
concept.
Like, it's do
It's
not
the
mix.
same.
That's-
Do not mix,
yes.
because I don't see any reason why you say, there's this thing that you now go and mistakenly stretch forth your
I
hand
used to do that
and dabble
before.
into
I used to do that before.
finances that especially for baby business that is not even up to a year. You're not seeing returns yet. It's still growing, or it's still booming, and it's going like it's looking like it's going
This-
well.
Yeah.
And then you start to mix up the
I
expenses.
think the
that will
solution,
fuck you
the
up.
solution for that, because sometimes it's difficult when you start a business. Of course, you feed. Of course, you do other things. Of course, it's life. Expense can just appear from nowhere. But how you solve that is don't. I'm not saying focus on different businesses, but don't focus on rely on one source of income as a
Yeah.
business owner.
In Nigeria.
As a Nigerian, especially.
If it's possible, even have, like my uncle say, if it's possible, like you don't have to be big. I used to think that for you to you have to have like maybe an empire for you to have like a financial advisor or financial expert. If it's possible, as you are starting up, have someone that you can always consult with when it comes to finances. Like it would help you
let me
along
let me
the way.
speak to that
Exactly.
for what we're doing at DIY. So, one of the things I've learned when these guys Indomie, that's popular brand name came.
Yeah.
When I think they came in 1997 or 1998, I can't remember, but they were aggregating and accumulating compounding profits up until around 2002. I'm not sure I'm precise with the numbers, but when I read that, it gave me so much insight. So that when we started DIY was like my bread and butter in terms of give me money.
Yeah.
One of the things I did was that I invested in barricades while I was starting DIY. So barricades are things that people rent. That's passive income.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you get? So it's on Gigi. People call, they have events, or people that event planners, they already know us. And so they call me. So every funds that come for barricades goes into my personal account.
Yeah.
I'm able to survive on that. And the business is generating income and the retained earnings stays retained.
Yeah.
So we're able to do that for a year and more. Now, I wanted to also add to what we're saying by saying that structure is another thing that can help you.
Yeah.
Because the truth
Systems and
is,
structure.
it is
As you grow.
difficult, sometimes. So there are some things in business that are called dividends, dividend policy. Some people will be like, I'm speaking so much English. Trust me, it's better for you if you know them and you're able to practice
Yeah.
them.
Knowledge.
Because if you want what you are building to grow, then you should be ready to do the right thing and learn the right
Learn.
Put in
thing.
the work.
So,
Yeah.
Ready
for
to learn.
example, I have somebody in my community, Joy. She
Your
bears Joy
namesake.
like as well. She ran a digital agency, right? And Joy used to have, this challenge as well. We sat down and spoke about, look, let it be a dividend policy in this business. So dividend policy will relate to if at the end of the month we generated 5 million. The dividend policy is that after we have removed and we have deducted the cost of services, we have our gross profit. We have deducted cost of operations such as licensing, all the stuff digital agencies use. And we now have maybe our net profit. Maybe, we know that we don't have to pay tax because we're a small business at the moment. Now you have this, your net income,
Yeah.
right? Now let the dividend policy maybe be that you take 10%, 20% out of that. And then you are able to put the retained earnings back into the business. Now,
True.
you could also do yourself so much good that this retained earning, you cannot say 20% of this will probably go into some form of digital investment, mutual funds. Be smart. Going back to where we started from, be smart. Goes into some form of mutual fund investment, or we're aggregating it for some form of real estate investment.
Yeah.
Be smart.
Mhm.
Whatever money that comes in, let it be that money. Let it be the money that can generate the money for
Something
you to
else.
spend.
Yes.
Mhm.
True.
Yeah.
So being smart. That's so going back to where we're even starting from. I like the
That's
fact
where
that this
we
is
started,
going back to where we're starting from. As you get smart to start a business,
Yeah.
do the hard work to grow that business.
Mhm.
And
When
then-
it's generating economic benefit, be smart
Keep being
enough
smart.
to know
Just
how
keep being
to
smart.
multiply.
So
Keep being
multiply.
smart to
In
sustain it.
in rounding up now.
Yeah.
Starting a business or growing a business, you need two things majorly.
Yeah.
you need to be smart because you need smartness to even start. Then you need to be very hardworking because hard work is what keeps the business.
Yeah.
I used to tell people business is life.
Yeah, of course.
Just the way you take care of yourself. You have
Right.
hands, you have leg. This hand and leg, they have their own function. Your eyes are not there. If that's the way business too is, at some point you have to think outside the box.
Right.
You have to pause and learn what needs to be. You have to see the time that people spend online on fruitless scrolling is enough to even learn what is working. This our generation now is. Yeah, you see, no, I'm telling you, some people will complain they don't have money.
Sometimes I
Some
use
people
a
complain
stick
they
of
don't have money.
pressure.
They're always online. MTN, Glow, and all these networks, they've increased their plan.
Hey,
Data
You've not
and
heard
everything.
should we go there?
People are
You've
still
not heard
online.
where Nigerians
Because
say,
it's
"See,
crazy.
you may not have anything, no. Just have money to buy data."
Just-
That is giving them joy.
Just buy data. Just be
Someone can
online.
be recycling 20K in his account just to buy data and all of that.
Right.
But it doesn't work like that. Anybody can start a business if you
True.
have the right mindset. If you can, we've disclosed a lot of hidden secret now. In fact, there's a lot to learn in this podcast actually. So it's now up to you to do the needful, and with God, there's nothing that is impossible.
Yeah.
That's true.
Dangote is one of my should I call him my mentor or role model from afar. I love the man so much that some people might say, okay, he came from a wealthy home.
It's
but
not about that.
he himself used to say that yes, he came from a wealthy home, but he has always had this desire to create his own wealth.
Exactly. He
That's why
affirms.
he borrowed. They didn't say they supported him.
Yeah.
He went down to that to borrow that money, and he grew his. If that man to be from a poor home, let me tell
He
you,
will still
Just
have
like
come
Davido
up to
now.
the point he
Davido
is
that
at.
where people are saying he's rich. There are a lot of rich kids that are into drugs. They are
Was
useless.
the money 30 billion when he started?
Exactly.
You get.
But the guy just say, okay, this is an advantage for me. I have my own life. So these are some of the people, some of the stories we should go through and get
In
inspired.
fact, I'm saying OBO, you need to declare. I don't think it's still 30
One day we'll
billion.
bring Obio here
I
now.
think
We'll
it should
bring him
be
here.
like-
One day we'll bring him here.
I think it should be like
man.
50 billion or more. Or
It
maybe
should be. It
100
should be
billion.
more because
So
you
we
know
need
when
to change the
when
gang
the
name.
30 BG now.
Right, so
It's
when
more
you
than
need to change the
30
gang
When
name,
the
it's no
30
more
BG, 30 BG was like 5 years ago. Now
Right.
it should be.
Yeah,
Nah, it's
no,
way
it's
up.
just- it's way more than
It's
that.
way
But
up.
it's a
It's
brand,
way
so to change the brand is people know him as 30 BG.
we need the
But that's
who
something.
accept it.
Yeah, that's something
It's like
they
you guys
do
are
to be.
obvious fan. Oh.
Yeah.
I love the
That-
guy. I love his.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
That's something
love
that they
this.
do that I love to see, like the fact that they already have so much influence and control over some good amount of money, but they still have that subconscious to still put in the work that needs to be put in to grow to the point that they want to, or the value, like put in the value that is needed. And all, like you said with Dangote, I've heard him speak in some things, and there's this thing about like he affirms it before he
Right.
already has, like he
Yeah,
affirms
you
it.
see, it's an attitude.
Right.
Do you get, like, he embodies it?
You see,
Exactly.
another reason why there's a lot of pushback when people who come from funds or who come from money say that they're still building money,
Yeah.
even though they come from money, is because we don't see the other side.
Yeah.
The other side where people who come from money have squandered and wasted
True.
money. If we see that often, then we'll be able to tell that.
Oh my god, guys, there's so much to say. See, when it comes to, I like to talk about money because there's so many loopholes and there's so many mistakes
Yeah.
that can be made. Like, you would see an opportunity that can give you 10 million, and just because of one little thing, you miss that opportunity. But I just want you guys to keep looking forward to more episodes on this show because there's so much more
So
juices.
much to learn, like,
So much juices to give, and
That is-
we're not
you need-
withholding back.
I need you to tell them just a sentence. What do you have for them now in closing? Just one sentence.
One, analysis paralysis. I just have to, guys. May that not be your fault.
Yeah.
May it not be your fault, really.
Joy, what about you? One sentence.
What do I have to say into entrepreneurs? I think keep pushing, keep going forward. Keep going forward. Yesterday should not be better than tomorrow.
Keep putting your best foot forward. For me, you have to be tough. You have to be tough, not rough, but you have to be tough.
Yeah.
Like they say, tough times never last, but
Mm.
tough
True.
people do. If you are not tough, you can't succeed in this game.
Right.
Not even in Nigeria.
Mm.
So you just
Period.
know, if you just accept your 9 to 5 job, or you go and sleep or whatever. But if you want to grow in business, you have to be tough.
I know what you are doing. Oh.
Yeah.
Know what you
Yeah.
are doing. Oh. Know what you are doing. Oh.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
important.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Like this is
Bye, bye.
this is phenomenal.
Yeah, it was. You guys tune in and stay tuned and watch out for our next. All our posts and our episodes are going to be on YouTube. So do also follow, subscribe, and stay tuned for more episodes to
Yeah,
come.
follow us on all social media platforms. SGS for Business.
Bye.
Powered
Yeah.
by Business Network.